Yeah, we had a pretty crazy event happen on the channel that I was looking forward to, and I actually missed it by a little bit. And it's this. It's the fact that, let me pull it up over here. It is the fact that we passed 1 billion views on this little YouTube website, which is crazy to me. Right? I mean, I have literally like everyone in the world to thank, especially you guys, for this, for watching so much of my stuff for so many years and things like that. I feel like I've practically like shed the skin of my community like several times and adopted new community members over all these years. You know, it's been absolutely crazy. Because I've been doing this full time. For anybody that didn't catch like the 10-year thing, I've been doing this full time since 2011, since like late 2011. So that was right around the Assist Me era and all that other stuff, right? Yeah, this isn't encompassing all of those views, but I didn't really have that many views going into that. I had a bit, but nothing super crazy. And yeah, somehow over the past like 24 hours, we actually passed 1 billion for a pretty much focused fighting game channel, right? I mean, I definitely had my moments where I dabbled in other things, but like the larger 98% of the videos that are on the channel are fighting game focused, and not specifically one like a really popular one like a Smash Brothers or something like that. Because if we have to be really honest, Smash is the one that'll transcend people to like the heavens, right? Like you get like Alfarad and guys like that have been, you know, sky blasted, and I think they pretty much started making content because of Smash Brothers and stuff like that. And I've never really been a huge Smash guy, like arguably one of the main games to play on, you know, video games, but really just not in that way. A lot of the viewership that we're talking about here is pretty much due to extensive fighting game coverage and pretty much, I would say, even classic fighting game coverage. The crazy part is that a very large majority of this is retro. You know, like in a very weird way, a large majority of this big ass number comes down to the fighting games that pretty much kept me afloat all those years when there wasn't stuff or we were waiting for things to come out, which was older fighting games that are like 10 or even 10 plus years old. Yeah, I have to give big shout outs to everybody because it wasn't just 1 billion views. It was also like we hit 1.5 million subs not that long ago. And that's just crazy. That snuck up on me way faster than I thought because, you know, Street Fighter 6 news and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's just absolutely nuts, you know? I'd imagine Final Fantasy VII has a pretty big contribution, right? But you have to think, like, I think overall I might have less than 50 FF7 videos in total, you know? And there's definitely a lot more fighting game focused stuff. So that's the crazy part about it, is that somehow we got to this number specifically focused on fighting game and fighting game variety for the most part, where a lot of these numbers are due to KOF and a lot of these numbers are due to legacy videos where we play classic stuff like Tekken and old Mortal Kombats and, you know, ancient Capcom games and stuff like that. That's what makes me really happy. Like, that's something that I feel is relatively unique in this space where the majority of the channel is gameplay focused around older games. And man, like, somehow that stuff has kept my channel afloat all these years of just the celebration of old games and the celebration of legacies of games and things like that. On top of, obviously, you know, being really excited for new fighting games, which is just something I love. I'm super lucky that I didn't end up getting into this stuff due to like a huge influx or burst, right? You could say that 2011 and Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Ultimate Marvel 3 were like my big, you know, spectacles where I was thrown into asunder into the stratosphere. But by comparison, like, that stratosphere was like, we didn't even get to the fucking clouds, man. Like, I at that time I had 20,000 subscribers on the channel when I first started doing this stuff full time. So it was still pretty dang small, right? It was still relatively small. And those games, you know, were like 2 million sellers, and Ultimate Marvel 3 was a very small seller. I never really had a chance where my channel just skyrocketed like a like absolutely swoosh, and people have a tough time managing their content around that time frame and figuring out how to stay relevant with the things that, you know, aren't what you were doing, that didn't skyrocket you. And that was several times during my YouTube channel career of just figuring out, and also Twitch, right? Figuring out how to balance the content between the two, because for the very large majority, my Twitch content has been my YouTube content starting in 2014. Like, no kidding you. What I streamed on Twitch, I pretty much planned on my Twitch content was my YouTube content. And I talked about this a bit before, but that goal was just because doing both at the same time and me being my own editor was impossible, right? That shit was absolutely impossible to keep up with that, and also working like full-time on Killer Instinct and stuff. My goal moving into streaming, like back in 2013, 2014, was to make streams like YouTube content. Treat streams like their YouTube content. I'm not just jumping on to play some random game. No, I'm gonna play like Resident Evil 1 because I've never actually played the remake in a hell of a long time, or I'm going to do a boss rage of something, like all that kind of stuff, you know? So I really did try to make my Twitch streams events, especially in those first few years, where it was like, oh, if we're showing up for Twitch, there's something special going on. We're playing Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. Who's seen this random thing? And then we actually make something out of it as it happens, you know? So that's actually what you do now. I highly recommend it, right? I highly recommend treating, you know, your Twitch content like it is YouTube content. I absolutely had a leg in when it came to streaming, just because I already had a YouTube audience, right? So I had a very healthy boost. When I first started streaming Killer Instinct in 2013, I already had on average of like 500 viewers, which is a ton, right? That's an absolute metric ton of viewers to start with back in like 2013. So anyway, I just had to grow from there. It was the idea that the eventual learning that the YouTube audience in many ways is very different than your Twitch audience, right? Because once again, these have to complement each other. These things can't just be individual, completely separate. It's very hard to do that. And I learned very quickly that not a lot of people like to watch live Twitch content. And I was one of those. I was one of those people that, I don't like live stuff, man. I just like watching videos. I don't like live stuff. Now all I do is like watch live stuff for the most part, and it's hard to not watch live stuff. I have to get myself in that mindset. I had to realize that those are two very different audiences, you know? Figuring out how this is the way it is, and approaching like, oh, I have to assume that the YouTube audience has no idea what I'm talking about, right? When you make these videos about certain issues or talking points or anything like that, you have to really assume that the YouTube side has not had all these long-winded conversations that you've had on Twitch. And making that assumption in YouTube channel format was important, you know? But it took a lot of time, you know? Like I said, I was the editor. We were putting out 1 to 2 videos a day, and I was the editor until I eventually got full-time help in like 2020. And now we've like really expanded to having a couple editors and manager and people that work full-time on thumbnails. So yeah, between, you know, Kate and Nico and Jorge, it's been huge help that we eventually get this stuff done, and obviously having Kai be an absolute huge help for thumbnail stuff has been great. And I don't know what the heck I was doing before, right? I don't know what the hell I was doing with my YouTube channel, where I was editing 99% of the stuff on the channel. Like, I can't believe I did that for that long. Yeah, getting 1 billion views is insane to me. And I'm insanely thankful for the audience that I've cultivated, because I feel like you guys have stuck with me for a really long time. And I feel like a very large majority of my audience skews on the older demographic. Anybody with larger audiences, it is relatively assumed that your demographic is younger. And that definitely is the case for people that get skyrocketed. Like, suddenly you get these huge skyrockets of popularity, and there are a lot of kids. They really just are. There are a lot of like teenagers to younger kids that will boost you into the stratosphere. And I've never had that. I've never actually had stratosphere swoosh my climb to 1 billion views, 1.5 million subs, if not 1 million on Twitch. Any of this stuff has been super gradual. See what were some of the top videos that actually got us there, and sort of see what it was that that did this shit. Hang on a second. So if we went over here, which videos were responsible for this in the most way? Hang on a second, because now I think I'll talk about this in the Q&A. Now YouTube is a much different beast than it ever was. Right now, YouTube and the way you get YouTube views is pretty much algorithmic based. And it's been that for a few years now, and it really wasn't that for a long time. It's just about establishing yourself, knowing people where to find you and all that. So how to actually get YouTube views now is like, you can be any random person on YouTube with barely any people that are subscribed to your channel. And no kidding, you can get hundreds of thousands of views. You can be any just rando person that just makes some goofy, funny video. And if it hits the algorithm correctly, bam, you can have a whole bunch of views. Does it lead to like a large audience? It doesn't, unfortunately. Like, ultimately, it is essentially fleeting, because you have to find a way to build something off of just a video that got 1 million views, because it doesn't mean much in the scape of things other than, wow, look at what I got for one video. Until you actually build something that people want to come back to and watch, then that is actually valuable. You have to build something that is worth coming back to. So anyway, let's see some of the old videos, because I imagine almost all of my old videos. Chat, I have not had big algorithm videos in so many years. I'm not even kidding you. Like, a lot of people say their YouTube channels. This is how ancient my YouTube channel is. A lot of people say in their YouTube videos that only like a very small, like 25% of the viewers of this video are subscribed. And I remember I had to ask my channel manager, where it's like, I see a lot of these other channels and they say that their prime viewership only comes from like 20 to 25% subscribed viewers. And I'm saying mine's at 75, 80%. And I remember her telling me, oh no, that's good. That means that you're not relying on the algorithm to get all of your content like out there. I'm like, really? And she's like, no, that's actually good. I mean, it's weird that you have to find more ways to hit the algorithm. And you really need to start teetering into those elements. But if you're at like 65 to 75%, like that is extremely good. And I'm like, that's where the majority of my viewership comes from. It still comes from subs. And that's the crazy part, is that is usually not how people get their viewership on YouTube. It's very weird. So let's go to my oldest video. Not oldest, most popular. Yes, good. And of no surprise, and this one makes me feel really great, because it's a great story and it's a great video. T7 Boss Rage is the #1 viewed video on the channel. Also makes a lot of sense. You know why? Makes a lot of sense because Tekken 7 ended up being a very big game. Ended up being quite a big game for fighting games in general. And a lot of people ended up buying it. A lot of people got into fighting games because of Tekken. So, and it's a fun one. I had a ton of fun making that shit. It is genuinely amazing. So that's a fighting game video, obviously. This one technically is too, right? My Cloud Smash video also, by the way, demonetized. But I dropped too many F-bombs in this one. This hasn't made any money for 5-6 years or something like that. It is demonetized, but you know, still is a huge part of my channel, and people still talk about this. This is arguably one of my most memeable elements on the entire video or videos. This one also obvious. Mortal Kombat 11 was a huge game. Rate the anything is big, so rate the supers and rate the finishers was big. But this is also demonetized. This video does not make any money, so whatever. This Boss Rage, also another great fighting game video, also demonetized because it features music that later on would not be usable for monetization because of a lot of shit changing. Also demonetized. And here's a weird one. This one has always been weird, chat. This video will pop up on YouTube every once in a while. I don't know how. This Modern Warfare 2 video of me just making, like, I just recorded gameplay with my HD PVR, my damn HD PVR, and threw it up on YouTube. And I think, no kidding, this is actually in 60 FPS 2009. Yeah, 72060, yo. Look at this shit. This was 3 days before the game was even out, buddy. So a lot of people like this video simply because it is, or it pops up because it was early gameplay of actual multiplayer matches of MW2. Simmons is in that lobby. My friends are all in that lobby. People from Assist Me are in that lobby. You know, it's just the way it is. So anyway, That was my first really, really big video. It was a 2009 video that got shot into the stratosphere. Did it give me anything? No, it didn't. It didn't eventually amount to anything that gave me any monetization in any way. So anyway, next one, another fighting game video, rate the finishers, Mortal Kombat 9, also demonetized. We actually get to see how many of my top videos are demonetized here, which is very funny. Boss Rage Shao Kahn, I actually had YouTube help me out on this one, where we replaced the audio. I had a friend at YouTube help me out with this, where I remade a new audio track for this that took out the what's it called, the music that was causing such a problem, and they replaced the audio because it was the exact same length, and it fixed it. So this was like 4-ish years ago, something like that. So anyway, this Boss Rage is actually functional and monetized and works and is great, right? This actually works great. Another fighting game video. We've seen quite a few Rate the Supers and Boss Rages all of a sudden. Obviously, reaction videos are relatively big. Sephiroth being a huge one, DMC5 being a huge one. This random video just hitting the algorithm, the final boss of KOF 15. Just right place, right time. I don't know. I really can't. Nothing about this video is specifically special in some way. This video did well because it has a bunch of dislikes too. Because we don't know anything about the anime that we're watching, that we're referencing in this. And this just shows how big Jump Force was as a game. That was a total trash game, right? Granted, this game was not good, but we just like rate everything based on what it is. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man. Anime fans get pissed when you talk about, when you say that, some dude from Fist of the North Star is throwing his Kamehameha. You know, they get really upset. So I think that also was the fact that the comment section was exploded, and no kidding, like it just threw it into algorithm heaven. So sometimes that's good. Like sometimes that shit is actually good, where the more comments videos have, negative or positive, will throw that engagement levels like through the roof. And jeez, man. Anyway, this just shows how excited people were for Predator and MKX. There were some early rumors about this, and I was just talking about an early rumor. This is some very early stuff, but MKX was a huge game. Just going down a little bit more. Rate the Friendships. Lovely video that was able to be monetized. It's very nice that I can still actually make, you know, a little bit of money off of a 1.9 million view video. Thanks, you. Very nice. Friendships are fantastic. And then obviously the big one, there's already several FF7 videos here. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3 FF7 videos already. And then the other big ones like Smash Brothers, Rate the Fatals, MK versus DC. CVS2 Boss Rage is the number 3 Boss Rage video that made it up here, which makes me very happy. Actually, number 4. And I'll give it to this because this is more of a modern game at the time frame. This was still a newer game. This was actually the latest Mortal Kombat game when we made this video. Ultra Street Fighter 4 was still relatively big and just came out, and T7 was a brand new game. So hitting boss rages at like the primo time was just the way to go. But this was for an old game, right? CVS2 Boss Rage was specifically for old ass video game content, retro content, and finding ways to keep that stuff engaging and keep it interesting and fun was always the goal of like Boss Rage and telling a story, you know? So it just goes to show that CVS2 is a very popular game that people still love to this day. Rate the Super for Smash Brothers Ultimate, you know, fantastic. Third Strike Boss Rage is on here, that's great. Asura's Wrath Boss Rage is on here, that's great. This old Dragon Ball video blew up, and this just reaffirms the fact that doing good tutorial content that's concise and gets people what they want quickly and actually can get you results is important, you know? Because this was just about the fact that you don't auto combo in Dragon Ball Fighters. That Dragon Ball video is how you found me, Nico. That's hilarious. This video is like the perfect example where if you have a big fighting game where a lot of people are playing it at any given time, you need to have something that hits the nail on the head, that can give the information to people, that'll change the way they play, and you will do cool things as a result. And luckily, Dragon Ball Fighters is a game with a huge casual audience. At this time, especially when it was new, there were very few people that knew actually how to do this stuff and how it even worked and how you can do manual combos, if not auto combos, if not, you know, a little bit more difficult. So that's the that was the thing, was that a lot of new players were like, well, I just don't want to do this cheesy combo anymore. Is there a better way to do it? Yes, it's not that hard. Try this. And no kidding, the video explodes. Just absolutely blows up in some way. So that can be very valuable, right? That can be very valuable at the right time, I've learned, especially when you have a lot of people that are looking for that information at the right time. Anyway, Rate the Super is also huge. Terry reaction, more FF7 reactions, right? It's pretty clear that the things that ended up being huge staples for my channel were not the things that started my channel, right? The things that everyone remembers me for are assist me. Things that assist me and large productions and our big Twitch productions and all that kind of stuff, live action assist me. You would think that those would fit in with all of these other videos up here, but they actually don't. They are relatively lower viewership in comparison to this stuff. And that is just the way it is. It comes from a different era of YouTube. And even you'll notice that a lot of these videos up here, some of them are a bit older, right? But even a very good chunk of them are within like the last 5 years-ish. So which is more modern YouTube-ish. Assist Me is from like a different time. And which is why we still do it, right? We still do assist me's every once in a while. We did one not even that long ago for Twitch Rivals with Marvel 3. We had a big Marvel vs. Capcom 3 event, and we literally brought Assist Me back for like one night, and it was amazing. It was so cool to actually be able to do that. But do those videos get any huge, those videos get any huge viewership? They don't. They're just for our existing audience. They really are just for everyone that's been watching and sticking around with us for so long. And do I love doing them? I do. The reason I love doing them is because we don't have to do them all the time. Similar to the way I approach some fighting games and coming back to them, I approach it the same way in content, where I don't want to burn people out on certain things. It's nice to come back to something that's been gone every once in a while and reevaluate what makes it great. And that's literally what we do with Assist Me every once in a while. So if we have a great idea, if we have like something cool that we want to film and put on camera, or have to, or like, man, we can't not do this, then we'll do it. So yeah, that's the reason why Assist Me is like, not up here with this upper echelon of things that get crazy views on my channel. It's here because it represents a legacy. It's like the arcade era of my channel, type of stuff. So anyway, FF7 stuff, Rate the Supers are really big, reactions are big, Boss Rage continues to be great. Me giving tips on how to get stuff in the crypt, because that was a huge pain in the ass in Mortal Kombat 11 when it first came out. A huge pain in the ass. And this one that surprises me, Final Fantasy VII Remake playthroughs somehow eclipsing like 1.4 to 1.5 million views. Like that's... I should make sure I even have ads enabled on these. I might not. Things change over time. I have a crazy amount of old videos that just have ads messed up, where they're like, YouTube will just throw 30 ads in the first 15 minutes. And I'm like, what the hell is this crazy shit? And then you have to manually like spread them out 10 to 15 minutes. Like, let's make this make some sense here, bro. Like, there's a lot of videos that are like that, that I have to eventually go back and change. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of these playthroughs, because they are long, are like that. So anyway, there will be more longer playthroughs in shorter, in single video format, like Street Fighter 5 and Resident Evil 4 Randomizer. Those will come to YouTube. I have learned that those are significantly better if I put them into very large YouTube videos. They just perform better. They do. And people are more happy that they don't have to come back for like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. I'll keep it under like 2 or 3 parts in general and make the videos like 3 to 4, sometimes 6 to 7 hours. Depends on how long the playthrough was. So yeah, I prefer to keep it that way, It's just nice that they don't have to take up so much space on the channel. Anyway, I don't know how, we're actually quite deep into these right now. I don't know how this caught on so much. Stupid, good, disappointed thumbnail, YouTube drama, that's all it really boils down to. People wanting to be supportive in some way, that's all this shit is, right? And this is me like really, this is like the perfect example of like how a title and thumbnail can just catch the algorithm. It really can't, right? The video was trending for a day, for God's sake. It actually caught the algorithm, and I was like so weirded out by it. It was just me explaining why boss rages were going down and why my literal channel manager, why Machinima had to fucking drop me for some shit. But I think it's just like obviously YouTube bullshit, right? I could try doing this for every single video, but I'd prefer what happens in, you know, the titles and the thumbs to actually be representative of what's happening in the fucking video. And taking, like, you know, all my reaction faces that I have from this stuff are actually, you know, from what happens in the video. So anyway, did I really get fired? Yes, my channel management on YouTube that represented me for like 7 years, they let me go. And I was also on my own all of a sudden. I was like, uh-oh. Believe it or not, they got me back 2 months later. When they made themselves into a different company. It was when Machinima changed to Screenwave? No. I think it was? No. I can't remember. It was when Machinima switched to a different company. It might have been Screenwave. No. It wasn't Screenwave. It was something else. Anyway. Goofy shit, right? Shinra. Yes, that's exactly what it was. Rate the Super is big. FF7 stuff. Rate the anything is very good. And then... you know, the old content. And I feel like of the assist me things, this was the biggest assist me thing that actually caught on. You know, this assist me thing right here, the rap battle of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, play it. I will, but I have to tell you, chat, there is some lyrics and dialogue that are in this video that are very, very much representative of early 2010. And I already know the full lyrics to the song, and I already know that certain parts of the song I had disagreed with, and I just didn't come out on the creative end in the majority, where everyone else wanted it to be this way, and I just, like, was the only person that was saying, like, can we change it to this instead? And it was just like, no, we're gonna keep it this way. So I just didn't have any option there because this wasn't just me. There was a lot of people that were responsible for a lot of different parts of the video. I was ultimately the editor. Still super happy with that video. It's a lot of work. It was a huge part of content. This was just a gag, right? This was just a gag in season 3 that we turned into a full video. So yeah, that's some classic assist me stuff, and that's the closest assist me actually gets to being in even my top like 100 most viewed videos. Oh, this makes me very happy that this is up here. This makes me very happy that this is up here. This video ended up becoming so popular. That makes me very happy. And also it makes me, these compilations being up here make me very happy, right? When I see that these like 2018, 2019, 2020, all these compilations end up being some of my most viewed content on the channel, that makes me super happy. Because these are just combinations of our best moments throughout a year that take a whole bunch of time. You know, they take a ridiculous amount of time every single year. Jesus Arcade Run has 1 million views. That even I am shocked by. The Fight of Gods Jesus Arcade Run has 1 million views. Did I release this on Christmas?
Before we jump into the arcade playthrough, I think it.
No, I didn't. Usually I play Fight of Gods for Christmas so we can get like Jesus versus Santa. That's crazy. I didn't think that would happen. RE3 doing this well? Jesus. In like a 3.5-hour video? Jesus. That's crazy. This old Alpha 3 is not a great boss rage. This is before I figured out the format of boss rage. Before I was like, oh, so what am I going to do with this, you know? Man, you like the long vids? A lot of people really do. A lot of people really like the long, unedited Twitch content, as long as it's focused. I'm not just gonna throw like this whole stream up on Twitch or something like that, but if it's focused around a playthrough that people are looking forward to or would like to watch, I like getting that all in one sort of spot, you know? That kind of thing. Yeah, there's some surprises in here. KI World Cup Top 8, where I hosted the whole damn thing, that's great that that's up there, because this is one of the greatest fighting game tournaments I've ever been a part of. It was absolutely amazing. Reaction stuff, Astral Finishers being up here, that's cool. This one is funny to me. This one is the perfect example of like right thumbnail. And like, this was the beginning. I hate to say that I caused a trend here, chat, but this was the beginning of like, oh, I'm gonna try to do hard combos in fighting games and see how much I lose my mind, right? And I started with like this game and like KOF 13 and stuff like that, these combo trial videos. And then a lot of other content creators really jumped on board with that, and it ends up being some of the biggest content on YouTube for a lot of other fighting game content creators. So I was actually the first one to start doing this stuff, and then it really picked up after. I think the first one, one of the first one was outside of this. Can I do the Iron Man Infinite type of shit? You know, can we do the Iron Man Infinite? And a ton of people started doing similar videos in some ways, showing their own journeys. And that's where it's like, yes, people would like to see your journey in figuring out combos for this stuff. People would like to see how somebody figures out how to do this shit, because guess what? The reason these videos are popular is because the extremely vast majority of people that play fighting games can't do this shit. They can't. The people cannot do this stuff. So it's interesting to them to see how people figure it out. Like, how does somebody eventually even get to the part where they understand how to do this shit, right? Very, very, very large, like 99% of people that play fighting games don't even know how to do this shit. BioFreaks almost crossed 1 million. That makes me very happy. I'm glad this made it up here, right? This is a video from only 3 months ago. I'm glad this one made it up here. This is a very high quality video that I was hoping would make it up there. I mean, Jorge made it into a high quality video, so good for him. So yeah, I mean, I obviously, outside of just reminiscing and checking out older stuff, and you know, obviously the things that really draw my mind are the big production things that we've done over the years, which have made me really happy. But it's clear that that stuff isn't what pays the bills on YouTube. Which is why when we do it, it's strictly out of passion. It's out of like, we just have a reason to throw all these characters and do all this stuff and put a high budget production thing together, and then, you know, make it a reality. Because it's the unfortunate situation that for the past, like, even 5+ years of YouTube, that stuff just doesn't resonate as well. People just want, like, direct content or direct access to the thoughts and processes of people that are streaming, if not people that are like well-known streamers, and to essentially see that stuff in an edited format on YouTube. And that's something that I realized a very long time ago. So it doesn't mean that we don't do that stuff. It just means that it's in between, right? It's the stuff that is now the stuff we'll do if we just have a great idea. And I won't force this stuff on any of my friends or anything like that if the idea is not specifically great.